psychiatrist. He says that the shadow consists of those parts of ourselves that we choose to repress or hide and that we don't like. I'm going to explain that a bit further. Our shadow side are the parts of us, and I'm talking from a metaphysical standpoint, are the parts of us coming up to be healed. Our shadow side is the parts of us coming up to be healed. So they're seeking healing, these parts of us, these repressed parts of us, these parts of us that remain hidden deep within the subconscious mind. They're hidden. We're not aware, mostly, that it's there. We might have some bit of understanding that some of it's there, but for the most part, 97% is hidden in our subconscious mind that we're not aware of. We have no awareness of. So these are shameful experiences, and these are fears and traumas and things of that nature. So my relationships were reflecting the shadow sides that needed healing. Which brings to mind a scripture, and I often like to quote scripture as a disclaimer. I believe in the Bible, but I don't believe it's a book written by God. I believe it's a book written about God, and that's a little bit different. There's a distinction there. But I do like to quote the scriptures because I believe consciousness wrote the Bible. Higher consciousness wrote the Bible. Some people call that God. Some people call it source. Some people call it higher self. Some people call it the universe. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So the scripture I'm making reference to is in Genesis, where it says, "In the beginning was the Word." Why am I saying that scripture? I'm saying that in the beginning was the Word. The Word is what produces everything in your life. The Word is what gives birth to your experiences. The Word is your belief about yourself. The Word is the beginning of your life. So in order to understand the beginning, we must go back to our childhood. We must understand what was going on there. What were the dynamics of our childhood? What were the traumatic experiences that we've experienced in our childhood or in our adulthood? I grew up in a very strict religious household. We grew up Jehovah's Witnesses. My mom was verbally and on occasion physically abusive to my brothers and sisters and I. And we were terrified of my mom. But there were parts of mom that we loved deeply and dearly. There were parts of her that were absolutely wonderful. So we did experience that other side of her as well. But when you grow up, you are a product of your environment. So my dad, he was aloof. He was emotionally detached. My dad was emotionally detached. So when Mom would abuse me, to reiterate, whether she did it verbally or physically to myself or my brothers and sisters, my dad would explain it away. He would pardon and make excuses for her. He'd say, "You know your mother, she was abused when she was a child." So the reason why I brought it up again, it became part of my conditioning. So in turn, I learned how to pardon and make excuses for my ex-boyfriend or my ex-husband, like my dad did. But what I'm saying here is that it's not always that we're doing it on a conscious level. Mostly, 97%, it's on a subconscious level that we're doing this. So that's what I learned. So, excuse me. Why is that important for you to know? Because what happens is these traumas or these disempowering beliefs or programs that are running in our lives, that are causing the drama that we see in our lives, that are causing us the pain, the suffering, the trauma, they have infractions on our soul. So the soul is looking to address those issues. It's looking to heal those issues. It's looking to remedy those issues. And it's also looking to understand those issues. So in order to understand things, we need experiences. That's the way that we learn. We can only learn through experiences. So my soul and your soul and our soul needs experiences. When I got pregnant at 19, my dad didn't speak to me for a whole year. I lived with my parents, who provided no emotional support. They wanted to punish me for having my son. They were disappointed with me. And it really, truly affected me. It affected me more than I could even realize that it affected me. I didn't feel good about myself. I felt like I was unworthy and I was less. So that became the power of my attraction. That became my attraction power of how I attracted future relationships and experiences in my life. So one time in particular, I remember hearing my dad tell my mom, they were talking about me and me being pregnant at 19. And he said to my mom that I was fast, just like she was, and that I would never amount to anything, and that my life is over pretty much. And I remember hearing him tell my mom this. And it hurt me deeply. It hurt me deeply. On another occasion, and I'm just giving you some background information so that you can understand these infractions that happen to us, they impress our soul, okay? And they affect us on deep, deep soul levels. So much so that we don't even realize it's happening to us. We're repressing our emotions, our pain, our anger on a subconscious level. So it's hidden from our conscious view. So that when things in our future begin to happen, when we experience trauma and dramas in our lives and toxicity in relationships, we have to understand that there's a connection between what's happening at that moment and what happened in the past, whether that past is your childhood or a past relationship that was toxic. So, when I met my ex-boyfriend, my son was 8 months old. We were deeply in love. And I was with him for about almost 8 years. But he had reservations with me because my son wasn't his. And I remember for the first 6 years that I was with him, he wanted me to hide my son from his parents. So his parents never got to meet my son until my son was 6 years old, pretty much. And I went along with it because, remember I had the backdrop of what my dad said to me, and that was hidden in my subconscious mind. And I didn't have boundaries, so it was familiar to me to see the rejection because I had rejection from my own parents. So anyway, I broke up with him, and I remember when I broke up with him, he wrote me a long letter. In the letter, he told me that what he really felt. For the first time, I heard what he was really feeling. And I knew he had reservations, but I didn't know the reason why, because he never told me the reason why, even though I saw in his actions that he wanted me to hide my son. But I really didn't understand the intricacies of it. But in the letter, he told me what it was. He said in the letter that only a divorced man should be with me because I had children. And I remember him also saying that he changed his mind. That's how he felt initially, that only someone divorced should be with me, but then he changed his mind. But mind you, he only changed his mind because I broke up with him. He wanted to get back together with me. So he told me that in 6 months' time that he was going to marry me, because I remember during the time that we were together, I said, what are we doing here? Like, are we going to get married or what? It's going on 8 years and we're not getting married? Like, what are you doing with me? And I told you in part 1 how I started going to the mosque. I started really, really getting into my studies in the Nation of Islam, and I was really dedicating my life to God. I was searching. I needed something more. I needed something that he couldn't give me. And I was feeling empty, but I was feeling this pull. I was feeling this future pull as if I couldn't even hold myself back. I felt that there was something more. And I wanted to really make some changes in my life. So anyway, I remember being so hurt when he wrote me that letter. I was deeply hurt. And I said to him, now I don't want you. So I broke up with him. Anyway, I'm sharing those little scenarios of what happened to me so that you can understand where I'm coming with all of this, where I'm going to with all of this. I learned some lessons about my experiences. Remember the repressed emotions that we discussed? Remember I said that they're hidden in the subconscious mind? So I was carrying these repressed emotions into my next relationships. So I got married, and when I got married, guys, I married the pattern that was inside of me. I had this pattern. The pattern of not feeling like I was worthy. The pattern of believing that I was second rate. The pattern of feeling that I wasn't good enough. The pattern of feeling like my life was messed up because I had a child at 19. The pattern of believing that it was all over for me. The pattern of believing my dad when he said I would never amount to anything. The pattern of believing my dad when he told me, when he pardoned my mom for abusing me and made excuses for her abuse. The pattern of believing that I didn't need to feel my own pain. The pattern of repressing that pain. The pattern of minimizing that pain. The pattern of overlooking that pain. The pattern of ignoring that pain. The pattern of feeling invalidated. So, like I said, do you see the connection here? I ended up marrying that pattern. And it showed up as abuse towards my son, which was actually abuse because if it's my son, it's me. If you abuse my child, you abuse me. Because my son is me and I'm my son. So life was trying to show me something. It was trying to show me what I believed about myself. But I spent 19 years trying to fix things, trying to figure out things. But I had the wrong focus because I didn't realize what it was revealing was a story about myself. It was revealing what I believed about myself. It was revealing what I needed to heal from my past traumas, my past childhood traumas. So there were things that needed to be adjusted within me. I needed to adopt a higher perspective about myself. I needed to see myself differently. So, when I left the victim mindset of blaming my ex-husband and blaming my parents and blaming the people around me, I realized and understood that they were all actors and actresses in my life trauma. So I needed my ex-husband to show me the disempowering, toxic beliefs that were hidden in my subconscious mind. So only he could show it to me. Only someone like him could show it to me. So he provided the contrast. With his extreme nature, he provided the contrast that I needed so that I could see what I believed and so that I could learn who I was. And so that I could move on and into my purpose. Are you hearing me? I'm not just saying something about me. I'm highlighting something here so that you could see you in all of this. There is a connection between the things that you suffer. There's a connection between the traumas and the dramas of your life. They're highlighting something. They're pointing something out about you that you need to know, that you need to understand. But if you're looking through the wrong perspective, the lower perspective, if you're not adopting a higher perspective, you're missing the point. You're missing the lesson. You have to study your lessons. There's a song called Study Your Lessons. Love is the message that I bring to you. That's the song. And in that song it says, love is, study your lessons. Study your lessons. And I remember repeating that over and over again. And I remember when I finally got it, I was like, wow. That's what it's been all about. All along. It's about the lessons. It's about the lessons that you need to learn about you. The other people are just actors and actresses trying to teach you a lesson, trying to show you something about you. But you're making it about them. I made it about him. I made it about all of them because I didn't understand. I didn't understand that there was a bigger story that was unfolding. Excuse me. I had no idea that they came to teach me. So what needs healing shows up as an experience. And it's the drama that others come to help us to play out. How did I come to see this? How did I come to understand this? It was the pain of losing my son, my first child, the one that was abused by my ex-husband. I lost him. He has not been in my life for 18 years. When he was 15 years old, he went to live with his dad. Mind you, his dad hadn't been in his life all those years. Do you see the irony here? So, to make a long story short, his dad ended up turning him against me and using my son's pain and exploiting it. To this day, I have not spoken to my son. I have not seen him in 18 years. So there's a price that I paid to get where I'm at now. I had to pay a price. So the pain of losing my son and not seeing him for 18 years is stimulated in me the right questions. It helped me to begin my journey of self-realization. I learned that it was bigger than me, what was going on. So as my awareness raised, understanding started to come to me, and I stopped attracting the same type of toxicity in relationships. I will say this, it didn't mean that I still wasn't going to be tested, because I have dated and I have come upon some less than desirable relationships, but I didn't entertain them long because now I had the awareness and I had the understanding. So they were basically tests. What does that have to do with you? When you come to a place of understanding, you're always going to be tested. So Life wants to test and wants you to demonstrate what you've learned from the past. It wants to see if you understand the lessons, meaning the struggles, the dramas, the traumas, the toxicity, all the things that you went through. It wants to understand if you can demonstrate what you have learned from all of it. Not what you can learn about the other people or the people involved, but what have you learned about you? And how is that connected to you and your purpose? That's what we're getting to. And I really can't go into it much further because this podcast will be too long. This is part 2, and we're going to keep this going, guys, because we have a lot more to cover here. This is a relationship series that I'm doing, and I'm going to come back with more in part 3 because I'm coming to something here. And I hope that something that I said shifted you in some type of way. And I hope that you took notes and that the scenarios and my life lessons and things that I came to understand that you got something, some type of nugget from something, and that you will review the information, you will listen to the podcasts over and over again, and be ready so that when we come back on part 3, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper. We're going to go deeper and deeper. So I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for showing up today. I want to thank you for listening, and I ask that you help me. I need help, guys. I can't do this on my own. The best way that you could help me is to subscribe to my channel. Another way that you can help me is to comment when you subscribe to my channel, and when you listen to a podcast, please write a comment. Please click on the like button. If you like it, if you like what you're hearing, and if you want more of this type of content, I need your help. I need you to help me to spread this information. If you like, click on the like button. If you subscribe, and if you comment, that's going to help me to get this information out, because everything is about the algorithms. So if you're not liking or subscribing to my channel, they don't see it as worthy information that needs to get out there. And my channel won't grow, and it won't reach the people that it could reach. So I need your help. Also, within the description of this podcast, you will see the information to my blog. Please like, comment, and subscribe on my blog as well. I write some powerful articles that are very, very informative, that will teach you how to live a more blissful life, and will go into deep, deep topics that I'm sure you will get a lot of nuggets from. So please, in addition, share that as well. And when you're listening to the YouTube video, please share it on the social media platforms. Share it on Facebook and Instagram and all the other social platforms. So thank you, everyone, for listening. And I will speak to you soon. I love you guys. I hope that you got something. I hope that my experience has taught you something, and please share this information. Until next time, guys, take care, be well, peace, blessings, and love you all.